Starting out in the expansion sets of Diablo 2, we have Aldur's Watchtower, the Druid set, and as with most of the class-specific sets, you can probably tell that it has a special quirk about it when completed that it gives us the Valkyrie aura of unbridled shininess. Though beyond that, we actually have a fairly competent set worth taking a look at, both in the overall set bonuses as well as in the individual parts. Starting with those overall bonuses, we have fairly obvious favoring of the shapeshifting Druid due to the various combat boosts, such as mana leech, attack rating, and enhanced damage. The enhanced damage being an off-weapon source, so it functions much like an aura or combat skill in terms of when it enters the formula. Now for the rest of the bonuses, they're more broad-reaching with resists, mana, skill points, and magic find. So overall, it's just a pretty solid all-round, albeit really only favoring one of the Druid's archetypes. Though as we dive into the single parts, we start with Aldur's Rhythm, packing increased attack speed, lightning damage, dual leech, as well as some damage boosts to demons and 2 to 3 sockets, just depending on your luck. It's a fairly solid weapon and an exceptional base, though you may notice it doesn't have a % damage boost, so upgrading it will only give a small damage boost overall, and in spite of gaining 15 strength for each of the additional parts of the set equipped, it still can't quite live up to the stronger runeword and unique options for the weapon slots on a Druid, which is the main reason you only rarely see Druids bothering to field this full set despite the solid global boosts. Moving over to the other socketed part of the set, Aldur's Stony Gaze, we see a repeat of the partial set bonuses of plus 15 to a stat, but this time it's energy for each other part equipped. And as far as the base stats on this helmet, it comes with hit recovery, variable cold resist, some regenerate mana, and a couple of sockets for customization. Frankly, it always disappoints me to see class-specific sets, or even uniques, without plus skills for their class, but it's still not a bad helmet thanks to those open slots, which will at least let you help you stay competitive with other options on the head, especially with certain jewels available. On the armor though, we do get to see some of those plus skills, with a boost to elemental and shapeshifting skills, which is kind of weird since for the most part, these are not used together outside of the stuff like Armageddon. On top of that, it has some strength, dexterity, and variable lightning resist up to 50%, as well as some surprisingly reasonable strength requirements to keep up the trend of partial set bonuses. We get 15 vitality per other part of the set here, which, due to being plus vitality, doesn't go as far as you would think due to when it enters the formula, since it applies after your shapeshifting bonus to life, meaning you only get about 90 life from it ever, no matter whether you're shapeshifted, battle orders, or in human form. And finally, we have the part of the set that gets used the most, even by non-druids, and that's Aldur's Advance, the boots. Basically, it's a Vidala's boots on steroids with faster run walk and a solid stamina boost to run forever, but also has fire resist up to 50% again. That's a theme across all of those resists. They all go up to 50%, but they can go lower. Stamina recovery perks are on there as well, mana recovery via damage to mana, and a plus 50 to base life. It's a flat bonus, which is applied before percent boosts, meaning it may give you 50 life in human form, but it will also scale with your shapeshifting form and battle orders, potentially giving you hundreds of life for the cost of one slot. Oh, and did I mention it continues the stat pattern, this time with 15 dexterity for each of the other parts of the set equipped. As far as upgrading, the armor is already elite, so there's no upgrade from there. As far as the Druid pelt, without % defense improvement, I'd usually just skip on it. The defense boost is just usually not going to be worth the runes. Now, the two parts that have an argument for upgrading are going to be the mace, which an upgrade will add about 20 to the minimum maximum damage, which isn't a lot, as I mentioned earlier, though without natural enhanced damage by %, this isn't going to be as significant as you'd think. So yeah, like I said, it's not going to be that important. But it does have the socket, so you can mess around with this to an extent, or just be happy with the little extra damage. If you can get that extra % in there somehow without wasting a bunch of resources, it can be okay. The big one though is the boots, with base kick damage on the battle boots being 37 to 64, but they can get ramped up to 50 to 145 for mirrored boots, which is one upgrade up and is fairly significant. Though this is only if you're going to be using these on an assassin for their standalone function. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother with it just for the defense boost, so only use it for assassins if you're going to, go for the kick damage. As far as sets go, you can definitely feel the difference between the classic ones and the expansion ones, since this will be more than enough to beat Nightmare, and if you're patient, even Hell. though admittedly you likely won't find this until after you've already beaten Hell unless you're really uncannily lucky or trade happy. But as said overall, it's definitely fun and is actually kind of interesting to use for some Fireclaw builds, or even as a partial set, or even just standalone items, in case of the boots, on other classes. So do you have a favorite expansion set? What is it and why? Mention it down below, and as always, a special thanks to the channel members, patrons, and even the super thanks users who keep the lights on so I can make more content like this.